everybody, this is Jay the Nerd here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below to get all the nerdy content you'll ever need every Wednesday and Saturday. And today I'm going to be talking about The Haunting of Bly Manor, which, wow, was it good. There's going to be spoilers in this review, just so you know, obviously. But I tried The Haunting of Hill House when it came out a while ago. And it was like disturbingly scary to the point where I couldn't watch it anymore. Like, I like some scary stuff, but there are some that just I just can't do, and that was one of them. And so I was hesitant to try Haunting of Bly Manor because it's made by the same person. But then everybody was saying how good it was and, you know, beautiful and all that. So you know what? I tried it and I was pleasantly surprised. Honestly, I expected to be scared, and at times I was, but I was mostly just sad. It was mostly just a sad story about sad people dying, being ghosts, losing the people they love. It was honestly just a sad story. Obviously there were some creepy things, but it was more like an eerie, creepy vibe than it was a disturbing, jump scare, scary kind of vibe. It was pretty chill and just eerie and sad. So if you want to watch something that has the spooky vibes but isn't just like seeps into your nightmares, disturbs you, scary, I would definitely watch Haunting of Bly Manor, because it just has the really kind of cool, creepy vibe that I like in horror. And I just really liked it. There's no like disturbing torture in it, and a lot of horror has that, and I can't deal with it. So if you want something that still is spooky but isn't traumatizing, I would definitely suggest it. But I just really loved it. Also the fact it was gay. Yay, it was gay. I'm always happy when there is LGBT representation in something, and it was two gay women in the 80s, which was just so cool to see. And the fact that they didn't have any discrimination in it at all was really interesting, because you know there's always a lot of, when they tell stories of gay people from the past or even the present, there's always some sort of storyline that has to do with discrimination, and they really didn't go there. Even when they were having the backstory of Danny and how she broke up with her fiance because she realized she was gay, like even then, like there wasn't really there wasn't like a scene where her family disowns her or any of those things. And no one was getting disturbed by Danny kissing another girl in the manor or anything like that. It was pretty chill, and it was nice to see a thing where they were just cute. Even in the future when they show them together and living together, like they never show any like homophobia or discrimination, which I think was nice to just show them being happy, even though, you know, that might not be the most realistic scenario. But I mean, it's a haunting horror show, so it doesn't need to be realistic. But I just really appreciated that. Unfortunately, they did go a little tropey with, you know, the bury your gays trope where Danny is, but when the Lady of the Lake takes her over. But I don't know, I thought that their story was really cute, and it was really nice to see that kind of representation in there that was mostly positive. But to me, one of the standouts was Owen, who's played by Raul Coley. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but I really liked him in iZombie, so I was excited to see him in something like this. And his character was really freaking adorable, and I really loved him so much. And I don't know, everybody was really great. I thought that Peter, the character of Peter, the actor particularly did a really good job with that character, and portraying like what a complicated person he was, how he seems on the outside that he is this like brash, rude, possessive, angry, crass person, but on the inside he's just lonely. And I don't know, I just thought that he did a really beautiful job in the show. And then obviously Hannah Gross, she was another standout acting wise, and I hope she gets some awards for that, because she did a really great job. and also literally never expected her to be a ghost whatsoever, even though if you go back, people have pointed out that you can notice that she never eats or drinks anything, which is a hint, and that she randomly disappears and appears. But anyway, the whole lore too of the ghosts, of how eventually ghosts that try and stay in the real world for too long, eventually they can't hold their ground, and their faces fade, their memories fade, and they become just a shell of who they are, is a really interesting concept. And I think that I really thought it was cool, because a lot of ghost things, it's, oh, you just are haunting forever and until you can move on. But this really seemed like a really cool idea to me, this whole concept that something that's not meant to be in this world, which is a spirit, someone who's dead, can't completely hold themselves together forever in the real world. And I just think that was a really interesting, beautiful, and sad and tragic thing. And let me say, like, the first half of the show was interesting, and I was interested watching it, but I do admit that it was kind of slow and got kind of boring. But the second half of the show just fucking took off with all of the flashback episodes and everything. And getting even more detailed with the lore. Like, I was getting more and more into it, especially when we got the Viola Lady of the Lake backstory episode. Like, the show just really, really takes off about halfway through. I'd say when we get the Hannah Gross backstory episode, where we're going through her memories and stuff, and you realize that she's a ghost, that's really when the show picks up. But even more so, they do a good job at ramping it up, especially with the Viola episode, because it was just so sinister and sad, and such a, just like, the way that it was portrayed was just gorgeous. I don't even know, like, really is like a gothic horror novel, which is what it is based from, and it was just like gorgeously filmed and put together. Viola's backstory thing, and the whole narration of her being stuck in that chest of drawers and waking up and walking and falling asleep, and like the whole thing, just, it was like, it never got old, and it was just a really gorgeous way to tell a backstory. And I just never get over how gorgeous of an episode that was. And it was just so tragic, like her being like desperately tied to that place forever, and being so desperate to not be alone that she grabs other people and brings them with her and makes them stay there, and that if you die there you can never leave and you're gonna fade away forever. And it was just like, and then with the finale with the ramping up and everything, and it was just so fucking tragic. I can't get over it. And I really never expected Dani to do what she did in the finale, which is invite Viola in. But honestly, like, what a great idea. Like, I would have never thought of that. And I always love it when a character has, like, a knee-jerk decision moment in danger, when they think back to something else important, and they're like, oh, I can do this, and it actually works. Like, I love those kind of moments in shows and movies and everything. And it was just sad. Like, I felt like it was kind of like a great metaphor almost for illness, with Dani just waiting for the Lady of the Lake to eventually take her over. Like, when people are just kind of like taking everything one day at a time and waiting for an illness to take over a person until they fade away. And I felt like that whole thing was a pretty good metaphor for that. And I'm happy that they got the years that they did, but it was just really tragic and sad. But anyway, it also made me sad that the kids forgot everything. But I understand that it's also important that they did, because it was so traumatic. But it was really interesting. And the way that they tied in the narration of Jamie being the narrator, and she was like telling the story at Flora's wedding, and we got to see who all was at the wedding too. And I was in awe with it. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's not scary, like Hill House, why are they even married? I don't like it. To me, like, there are different ways to tell horror. There's the, Hill House, which was like disturbing and traumatic and really scary. But then there's another way to tell horror, which is the tragedy of horror, all of these, and the creepy, eerie feeling that sometimes can mess with you even more than just disturbing jump scare kind of horror. And to me, the guy who made both of those shows, he's just really good and talented that he's able to portray these two very different styles of horror. But anyways, I really freaking loved it, as you can tell, and it's a perfect thing to watch for the Halloween time. That's it. I will see you on Wednesday for my next Supernatural Season 15 episode review. Bye.